First, I'd like to thank the Asia Foundation for inviting me to come here today. I live regularly in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, so I'm not a native of Kathmandu or Nepal, so it's really an honor to be here. I always enjoy coming here for these types of discussions. As I was saying earlier to our honorable guests, that I find Nepal has one of the most open dialogues on issues with civil society, government, media, so it's always a pleasure to come and listen to people debate in a spirit of trust and really on important issues of the day. So thank you for that. So today we'll be discussing the broad geopolitical trends and actors that are shaping and influencing the Asia-Pacific region and how these may impact small states, particularly here in Nepal and in South Asia. We will also explore how these trends impact aid and investment and the importance of agency in navigating these trends in favor of small states. The world, as we know, is experiencing significant geopolitical shifts that are impacting the Asia-Pacific region, and I'd like to touch on just a few. The rise of China as a global superpower is a given, but the significant trends in China's global engagements are more nuanced. 2023 marks the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, which is an ever-evolving initiative. Too many people still think of the BRI as a large-scale infrastructure program which drives partner countries into insurmountable debt. We've all heard that narrative. While large-scale BRI investments have reduced since 2016, China has increased its investments in small and beautiful projects. And that's terminology that they use, which are smaller, less risky, and more profitable trade-linked infrastructure projects overseas. These projects are part of China's Belt and Road Initiative and are aimed at risk management. These projects could be led by smaller state-run companies or private firms. So this is a very different narrative to the dominant narrative that we're familiar with on the BRI. Furthermore, in the last couple of years, China has complemented the BRI with new initiatives, including the Global Development Initiative, of which an inaugural project was launched in Nepal a couple of years ago, the Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative. These are complementary foreign policy initiatives intended to deepen and broaden China's global engagement. So what do we know about these and how are they taking shape in our region? These are important questions for our discussion over the next 2 days. India for decades has been the dominant power and provider of resources and trade in South Asia. In the last decade, however, while India-China tensions have escalated, China has increasingly regarded India's neighborhood as its own. China has become a significant partner to several countries in South Asia, particularly through economic diplomacy and BRI-type investments. While we will be looking at this competing influence over the course of the seminar, we'll be looking at other areas like education and aid as well. So India's more assertive global role, including as president of the G20, founding member of the Quad, and in leading organizations such as the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure or the International Solar Alliance, and having membership in institutions such as the BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization adds another layer of complexity to the region's dynamics. India's G20 presidency provides an opportunity for India to test its clout and credibility in tackling the fragmented global order. We look forward to the summit, the G20 summit, which will be held later this month in India. Smaller countries in the region, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, tend to pursue a hedging strategy, playing India and China in particular off each other to gain economically from each. Hedging involves simultaneously engaging with multiple powers or actors in the region without taking a definitive side or forming a strong alliance with any one of them. However, who's in favor tends to depend on the government in power and cannot always result in the best outcomes for the country. The US role in South Asia is more peripheral but still significant. The concept of the Indo-Pacific has emerged in large part as a response to China's rise, and the proliferation of Indo-Pacific strategies are in part designed implicitly or explicitly to counter this rising influence. These strategies frame the relationship with China as competitive, rival, and/or collaborative, depending on the sphere of engagement, including in development cooperation. Development cooperation, as a result, has become a contested space, particularly in global South arenas. And development finance in its various forms is now part of the arsenal of diplomatic levers that competing powers use to extend their geopolitical reach. So how are small states navigating and assessing these offers and opportunities? How are they managing the debt? We will also be unpacking debt in the region, challenging some assumptions about the nature of debt and looking at root causes. Another significant trend are the changing norms and forms of global governance and multilateralism, especially those led by the Global South. The outcomes of the recently concluded BRICS summit in South Africa, where 6 new members were added, has implications for the global economy and global governance. The BRICS has increased its economic heft. There are new trading relationships on the table, and there are questions about how this might rival the G7. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is another similar organization, though it's been around for several years. It has gained momentum in the last couple of years, and its reach extends to areas like economy and security. Similarly, we will see new and rising multilateral financial institutions like the AIIB and the New Development Bank. So what role will these play in reshaping development finance? Regional groupings are also increasingly important, such as ASEAN or BIMSTEC, and we're recently hearing more talk about the Bay of Bengal area and the common interests shared by the countries in this region. These trends, and of course there are many others, and we will discuss them over the course of these 2 days, have significant implications for small states, which must navigate the complex web of relationships and interests in the region. Small states have agency and can navigate these trends in their favor. By building strong relationships with a broad range of stakeholders beyond state actors, small states can leverage their unique strengths and capabilities to achieve their foreign policy priorities. This includes engaging with academia, civil society, the private sector to foster a more inclusive and comprehensive discussion of foreign policy issues. Spaces like this seminar provide a crucial role in facilitating these discussions. They provide a platform for small states to voice their concerns, share experiences, and learn from one another. It is important to support and continue these spaces to ensure that small states have a voice in the evolving geopolitical landscape. By bringing together a broad range of stakeholders, including state and non-state actors, we can foster a more holistic understanding of the challenges and opportunities faced by small states in navigating competition and foreign policy priorities. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to a productive and insightful discussion.